Well, hey, everybody. Getting things set here for tonight's show. So grab a drink and let's get ready for a live show in about 8 minutes. Let's see what we got going on. No, that's not it. This is... Seven minutes till the show starts. You can watch a football game with me virtually. Once you drop in, let me know where you're watching from. I see a lot of folks over on Instagram. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. That's a new thing we have. Hey, Rhonda Lee up in Nova Scotia. Happy Sunday to you. We will have the phone lines open once we get things rolling here at the top of the hour. Scotty G is off tonight. He's watching his Lions, who are now up 7-0 over the 49ers. Right away, they went the length of the field. All the Apple Vision Pro commercials. That thing is too rich for my blood. But it looks cool. Stop showing me that. We're all going to look like robots. Oh my gosh. I've got to ban somebody. All right. How do I ban somebody? No. So we'll start at the top of the hour. So to sit tight. And Mo Parley's in Daytona Beach, Florida over on Instagram. Shout out. Oh, you want to see it on Twitch. Shout out to, let's see, in Buffalo, New York, headed to Walt Disney World in 6 days. Holy cow. So that would be what, next Saturday? Looks like, I love reading these handles. I'm trying it. For Ellison Wonderland? Ellison Wonderland? I'm terrible with handles. I'm trying to decipher them. It's like license plates. But have fun. Where are you staying? Are you staying on site? I'm rooting for the Lions, Fulton, for Scotty G. Justin from Cleveland's here. Shout out, Justin. Man, Christian McCaffrey is a beast. That hits the hole hard. Hop Century. Yeah, Skyliner is awesome. And tie-dyed cheesecake for the win. They actually just have all kinds of good food at their food court. You just can't go wrong. And walk over to Art of Animation and get pictures like at the the cars area. It's just amazing. It's great photo spots. Hello, Resort Runner. You run the resorts. I like that. SMC Relish in Maine, but getting out of the snow, headed for Walt Disney World February 17th. 3 weeks. You're almost there. You can almost taste it. You can almost get the luggage out at this point. Resort Runner, thoughts on DVC accommodations. I always hold my. I'm one of those people. I try not to give my opinions until I've seen it in person. I know a lot of people have the hot takes immediately, but the pictures look kind of nice as far as the mock-ups and stuff. I mean, I like the aesthetic of the old cabins, to be honest, from what I've seen, but I don't really like the exterior looks, but I've liked the looks of the stuff from the pictures I've seen the last few days of the interiors. So I don't know. I think it'd be fun to stay in one, but I like the more rustic looks of the old exteriors than the kind of updated look. But yeah, looks kind of neat. Oh my gosh, resort runners at Studios bus stop about to run to the Epcot resort loop. Nice. Oh man, do you not love the music they play at the bus area for at the Studios? I love that loop. I'm gonna talk about that tonight. 2 minutes to go. What's up, Andrew? What's up, Ashley? George, best hair in the world, even when he's running a marathon. Reeves, what's up? Down in Texas. Ken is here. What's up, Ken? Isabel. Shout out Isabel over on Facebook. Happy Sunday. Swansea Searcher. A good friend, I believe, Brandon. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Rob's here. Oh, Rob says he loves the new cabins, but the annual dues are super high. See, I'm not a DVC member, so I have to worry about dues. It's kind of good. Of course, that's so good. Oh, Resort Runner says, loving the pet-friendly option of the cabins and low-point options. There you go. See, I'm not DVC, so I don't think about these things. But see, Scott's DVC, so sometimes I hook up with him. Like say, oh, miss, wide right. Still 7-0 Lions. I'd love it if the next BOGP cruise would go to Alaska. Possibility, maybe. Problem with Alaska. The only problem with Alaska is that cruise is so expensive. I try to make it so everybody can get in, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's really hard for families to afford Alaska, but maybe we've done so many possibly, but that's why I haven't done that. Alfred, we might do a live link tonight, we might not, we'll see how the show goes. I'm Chiefs Kingdom, but I was kind of Chiefs. I'm from Missouri, but I'm not a huge Chiefs fan. They voted for the Rams to leave, so I didn't know who to root for in the first game. Tonight I'm Lions or Scott. Oh, George is cruising on the Treasure in May of 25. It's going to be fun. I totally want to do an Alaska cruise. Because like you guys all know I'm a Love Boat fan, and they always do Alaska cruises on Love Boat. They have Love Boats even from back in the 70s, and like even then, like they look awesome. They're so expensive. I hate asking anybody to pay that to go on a BOGP cruise, but maybe just have a different kind of makeup. How about we do a live show? Yeah, Pam did the Icon of the Seas. She's already back. She did the media cruise before the inaugural. I know, Chris. I know. But if you're a Rams fan and they, what if in St. Louis we voted for the Royals to move to Nashville? That'd be kind of the same thing. Hey, Thomas. It was good seeing you as well. Alan is here. Got to see Alan out at Disneyland in the room where we got our bibs. All right, we should do the show. And turn off this crazy music. Very, very cool people in the house. Okay, let's do this. Where do I have the music coming from? Too many computers going here. There, that's coming from. Not there, it's coming from here, I think. Okay, let's pause that for now. All right, let's do a show. Here we go. I'll need your calls once I get through the beginning, and we'll talk for an hour and have fun. And it'll come out on Thursday, and it'll be the most popular show of the week. Maybe. We'll see. The live shows have been super popular on the feed lately, and I appreciate that, especially ones where it's Scott joins us, which is fun for me. Oops, I forgot. I didn't have the comments on. Okay, here we go. Oh, Jessica's here. I know I'm not a Cronky fan either, but this isn't Sports Open Line. But yeah, Chris, I'm 100% with you on that. Cronky is not a good word in this house. I even told that to my dad last night while he was over here. I said, we will not speak, because my dad works for Cronky, right? I said, we will not speak positively of Cronky under this house, under this roof. Okay, here we go. Oh, shoot, not this again. Hang on. I got to do this. Every once in a while, this thing goes haywire. Got to hit this, got to hit trash. No. Then I got to go here. Got to bring it down to 44.1. Got to hit OK. Got to bring it over here. And we can do a live show. Here we go. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line for Sunday night, January 28th, 2024. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com. And, of course, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Sunday night to you. Hope you had a great weekend here on the last full weekend in January. We've made it through January. It's the longest 65 days of the year. But hey, here we are. Can you believe that for all of us that do the Run Disney races this week or this month started with us, a lot of us down at Walt Disney World and then hopping planes out to Disneyland. And we're still in the same month that we did all that. I mean, I still have a scab on my right knee from where I fell out of Disneyland. It's my little souvenir that is hanging on so that I can remember that the half marathon, mile 5, that every time I take a shower every morning and it burns when the soap gets in there. I remember leaving DCA. It's my little remembrance besides my medals and my sore muscles that are still not recovered from all the races. But hey, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great weekend. We are going to be taking your calls at 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395 here in about 5 minutes. Scotty G, not here with me tonight. I gave my brother from another mother the night off because, as you probably know, it is championship weekend here in the NFL. That means we're down to 4 teams. Actually, by the time we're doing this show tonight, we're down to 3 teams. Congratulations to Chris Young in our live chat out in Kansas City. His Chiefs have punched the ticket. They're headed to the Super Bowl 2 weeks from tonight. They have taken the victory over the Baltimore Ravens. And currently, the Detroit Lions are taking on the San Francisco 49ers, and Scotty G's team is the Detroit Lions. So I told him, have old-fashioned. He has La Azteca or something up by him. Have whatever he likes and enjoy the moment. It's his team. They have not been to the playoffs in a very long time. So don't try to power through and do a call-in show. Enjoy the night. I got you. So he's not going to be here. He'll be with us next weekend. No football next weekend at all. It's going to be a great show. And then, of course, we'll take off in 2 weeks. That is Super Bowl Sunday, because I know even if you're not a football fan, you probably are going to a Super Bowl party because commercials, right? You got to watch the commercials. And more importantly, you got to eat all the good foods. You got to have all the snacks. You don't have to be a football fan to enjoy the Super Bowl. So we'll take off 2 weeks from tonight for the Super Bowl. Then we'll be back in the groove and cruising through late winter, spring, summer, all that good stuff. We'll be back in our groove. But I appreciate you being here tonight. We have a lot of topics to discuss. So some of the stuff I thought I would bring to the table tonight to have discussions about, but you can talk about anything you like. First of all, on Friday, Ricky, Scott, and I had a conversation about a few just various topics that we brought to the table. And first of all, we talked about virtual queues. And if you follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, I ran a poll on, I think it was Friday afternoon. So the folks had something to do as they're wrapping up their work week. And I asked this question. I said, should virtual queues be used more, be used about the same, or be eliminated altogether? And what happened was, after 24 hours of that poll being up, the winning answer was that virtual queues should be eliminated, which kind of didn't surprise me, but that was the answer by about 47% of the vote. And so I was wanting to get your thoughts on virtual queues. Where do they stand right now? Do you think they're used too much? Do you think they could be used better? How could we better use virtual queues? Should we just eliminate them altogether? What are your thoughts on virtual queues? Give us 5 minutes on that, 3 minutes on that. What are your thoughts on virtual queues? Also, let's talk about Country Bears. We saw that the Country Bears went down on Friday night. That was their last show. I thought it was ironic that the very last show of the night, everybody was kind of queuing up throughout the day to see their last show of the Country Bears. And people were wanting to see the very, very last show of the night, the very last show of the performance that they've been doing ever since 1971. And what happens? The Bears start malfunctioning late in the day. They can't get them, they can't get them fixed. And the very, very last show was canceled due to malfunctioning Bears. And so the second to last show became the last show. And so that was it for the Bears. They're now down for refurbishment. They're going to come back. Ricky says they're going to be singing covers of Disney songs like Bare Necessities and stuff like that. We'll see. So is it going to be more popular, less popular coming out of this? Are you going to be more likely to go to the Country Bears when they come out of refurbishment? Did you go to the Country Bears on your last trip? How did you feel about the Bears? Does this get you more excited about the Bears? What about, we talked also about Tiana. How do you feel about Tiana versus Splash Mountain? You're going to get more into that. Also, we talked about popcorn buckets. Are you somebody that buys popcorn? But how many do you have in your collection? I have a few, and I am not a collector because I get scared that I'm going to be worried about trying to collect everything. But Scott kind of got me into what happened was I was at Walt Disney World when the Figment thing was happening, right? And I could get one without having to wait in line for like 8 hours. Where's my Figment one? Well, it's up on top of that shelf. You can't see it, but it's right at the top of that bib over my head. You can kind of see Figment's foot, but I did get the Figment one. And since I've just gotten a couple of others, just because I like the attraction, like I got Mr. Toad because I love riding Mr. Toad out of Disneyland. I didn't get that at Disneyland though. I got that in Adventureland at Walt Disney World off of a cart, and it's right next to I bought it off a cart right next to across from the Tiki Room in Adventureland. And they also sell them in the hub at Magic Kingdom. But I got that one just because I love Mr. Toad. I got this purple balloon looking one out at Disneyland because I was out there for the Disneyland 100 celebration, and I thought it looked cool. And I wanted to remember because I was out at Disneyland. I don't have a bunch. I have a few. Some people have to have them all. I do have a Christmas tree that lights up because that was it looked like a ceramic Christmas tree, and I love ceramic Christmas trees. So I got that. But I don't have a ton. I probably got 4 or 5. I have a few sippers too because those are more manageable. But Sam Eagle's one of my favorite characters of all time. So I had to have Sam Eagle immediately. And I have a couple orange birds because I think those are cute. But where do you fall on the popcorn buckets and the sippers? All right, so I'm going to stop yapping because I have a few other topics. And it may be a hot take that I saw this afternoon on Twitter that I just can't get out of my head that I want to have a discussion about, but it is a hot take. It's not my hot take. It's somebody else's. But I want to throw it out there and see what you think about it. But give me a call. I'm going to stop yapping. I want your calls. 407-413-9395. 407-413-9395. People in the Mouth says he wants more virtual queues because, again, virtual queues means you don't have to stand if they're used properly, I guess, that you are securing your place in line where you can go do something and come back. I mean, that's how they're supposed to go. I don't know, if they're used right, but I mean, like at the Run Disney events, you come back and you still wait in line for another 45 minutes. That's not perfect. All right, we have a first call tonight. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike, it's Brandon up in New Hampshire. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Brandon. Happy Sunday night. What's going on?
Happy Sunday night. We're going through a snowstorm up here, so I'm missing Florida. We'll be back down in May. We did Animal Kingdom Lodge in December, and it's like, we're back to reality here in New Hampshire.
Keep it. We had the cold weather and all that junk about a week ago, and I mean, it was cold today. 38 was the high, but we're supposed to actually get a little sun this week. We haven't seen the sun in like a week, so
get yourself outside, get a little bit of that vitamin D while you can, buddy.
I won't know what to think when it gets sunny around here. It's been so long, but so what do you think about these topics? I'm trying, because I think we all have opinions on these things, but I think these things kind of vary from person to person based on experiences.
Oh yeah, no. After listening to your Friday show, there, the virtual queue thing really fascinated me. My wife and I, Pam, were down there in 2019, the day Rise of Resistance opened. Now, that wasn't planning on our part. We're not huge Star Wars people, but we saw all these sandwich boards, and we got to the park at rope drop, and they were sold at, well, all the virtual queues, like everywhere you walked in Hollywood Studios said that these virtual queues were already gone by like 8 o'clock in the morning. How does that make sense that they're already gone? But yet, I mean, what kind of a planning situation was that by Disney at that point?
Yeah, because and I think I mentioned this on the show, but I can't remember because we recorded on Mondays. Yeah, it's so sad because it's Friday show, right? But we recorded on Mondays, so it's a week ago at this point. But I remember when you had to get to the park, and I remember really you were standing, and I always stood at the end of Sunset, right at the corner by Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. Like they would cut you off pre-park opening. They'd let you in that far, but the park really wasn't open at that point. And you would wait there until I think it was 7. And that's when you could get in the virtual queue for Rise, right? And so everybody would be sitting there on their phones and you'd be pushing the button. Everybody was standing, everybody's doing the same thing. And everybody was on Sunset Boulevard. And you would see people like, I got 71, your boarding group number. I got 42. I got, and some people would be disappointed. And it was all based on your cellular connection, or if you were trying to get on the Wi-Fi. It was like the biggest lottery, but everybody was standing shoulder to shoulder. And and everything was, like you said, everything was gone within probably a minute, 90 seconds. And it, because the
funny thing was when you walk by, everybody looked like a mannequin. Everybody was stuck in one spot, standing there. Everybody's staring at their phones. Nobody's walking around. Nobody's getting on ride, because at that one point in time, everybody is just trying over and over again to get that virtual queue.
It was. And the thing was too, is that, so the reason I did it there is because what would happen is everybody kind of stood there. And then what would happen is after that, you were standing there so that when the park officially opened, you could tear, right to go onto Rocket Roller Coaster or Tower, with no wait. You're the first one. Yep. So you were at least going to be assured that you could probably do those 2 rides with no wait, little to no wait. And then hopefully have a virtual queue, because if you got a really good boarding group, you were set, because you would do Rise, Tower, Rock and Roller Coaster, and you were like in business. I mean, and it usually worked out that way. But if you got a boarding group of like 80, then you were like, oh my God, okay, now, because to me, that's also a problem with virtual queues, is that when you get a group like 92, right, and you're there at park opening, I mean, then the whole rest of your day, you're just kind of sitting around even if it's virtually, you're thinking, okay, how we, all day you're kind of monitoring, like, okay, I got to make sure that I'm back, at 1:30, and I was planning on moving on. I was hoping to have this done by 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Well, that, and if you're planning out doing like Genie Plus or something like that too, and you're setting these lightning lanes for these different times throughout the day, you're kind of like readjusting that the entire time, thinking, okay, well, the virtual queue tells me 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock comes and goes. You didn't book anything in that hour. 2 o'clock comes and goes, and you're just wandering around the park waiting for your virtual queue to be called. 3 o'clock rolls around, and you're like, okay, it really should have been called by now. But even then, you mentioned this the other day on the Friday show that you recorded on Monday. Sometimes you get to your virtual queue when you're called, and you're still in line for 2 hours. It's like, what in the hell did I just do with half of my day? I'm with Scotty G now. If I want to ride it bad enough, I'm done with the virtual queue system. I'm just going to buy the individual lightning lane. I'm not even bothering with the virtual queue thing anymore.
But see, I get, I hear you, but see, that's like them winning because of
that is exactly correct. You are,
it's winning. It's winning because of frustration, though. It's winning out of frustration. And I hate to hear that, because it should not be that way. It should not be that you are going to spend $15 or more per person, it's not like per family, especially if you're a family person, you got 3 kids, 2 kids, 4 people, it shouldn't be. And I understand your frustration, right? Because you can buy yourself out of that situation. You can take care of it and get an individual lightning lane, that solves your problem. There is a solution to this, but you've already paid admission to get into the park, and it shouldn't be that you have to do that. You can, but I don't want people, because I'm not looking at it from my perspective, because I don't need to ride all these things because I've done them so many times. I'm looking at it from, say, my next door neighbor who goes down there, and they've seen the commercials and they get all jazzed about going on Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, or Rise, or something like that. I want them to, if they have to go through the virtual queue experience, that's okay. But I don't want it to be one of those things, like you say, where if they go through the virtual queue experience, get it at 7 a.m., but then when they get in line, that they wait another hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what the virtual queue is. Like, virtual queue is virtually waiting in line outside of a queue. Like, so when you come back, you should be able to, in 10 minutes, you should be you should start the attraction experience, because that is
I agree 100%.
that's the pitch. And otherwise it's like a bait and switch kind of thing.
And that's exactly, you said the words correctly. It's like a bait and switch. I work in retail, and that's exactly the term I would use, because they literally get you to think that, oh yeah, you can get on this ride, later in the day or something like that. You just do your virtual queue, go about the park, do your own thing. But then you get back there and you're still in line for an hour to an hour and a half or 2 hours. And God forbid you waited for that virtual queue number to be called all day, which you altered your plans all day long, and then Rise the Resistance goes down. So it's like, oh my God. So I did all of this adjusting my entire day. This could be my once a lifetime experience going to Hollywood Studios or Disney in general. And then you set your plans, you set your heart, your whole family set up for this experience to go on Rise the Resistance, this 20-minute long experience, which is fantastic, but you still didn't get to do it. And then they give you a return anytime thing after that if it's down the rest of the day. What if that was your only Hollywood Studios day of your trip? You know what I mean? It just, you're right, 100%. The bait and switch thing there, pay to play, so to speak. I guess that's the best way to put it.
It is. And it's, I just want everybody to have the experience that, and I know you're not going to get what you see on TV, right? Because they're running a commercial now, and it's a great commercial, right? It's about like the greatest moments in life. Like, it shows like a couple getting engaged, and, this birthday party, and, breakfast, somebody's making Mickey waffles. We're going to Walt Disney World. Like, that's what I love seeing, because I know I talk to people on the show on Mondays, the Monday shows, and families do that. They surprise the kids with Mickey waffles. We're going to Walt Disney World. That happens in real life. But when families get down there, I want them to have as smooth of an experience as possible. And I don't want them to get hit with things like this over and over. This might happen once, but we're hearing about this happening. It's just, I think virtual queues they just aren't working. But then again, Brandon, let me ask you this. I mean, say we eliminate virtual queues. Here's what I think, because I've been thinking about this all week, because I knew I wanted to talk about this tonight, and I didn't know I still don't know what my opinion is. But when you have something that is brand new, say like a Rise of the Resistance, it was like when it was like the new hotness, right? Even like when Hagrid's opened over at Universal. I understand, like, Disney does not want to have an 8-hour line. You don't want to have a line that goes, that snakes for, a quarter of a mile. You can't have that. It's not a good look, and people are going to be passing out. It's not feasible. So you probably do need a virtual queue in that situation, but I think you need to get rid of the virtual queue as soon as you can, and maybe just go standby and individual lightning lane if people want to buy. I don't know. I just don't know what the answer is for those big e-tickets, those big things.
No, I agree. They did, but look how quickly Remy's Ratatouille was a virtual queue, and then it was gone. And then you could, stand in a standby line, and then you could potentially buy it as an individual purchase if you wanted to. Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe, should be at that situation by now too. It's not that new anymore. Tron's not that new anymore. I think there's a statute of limitation where you should have that virtual queue for the opening part of it. But do you have to have this thing going on all the time where you don't have an actual standby line? That's what drives me nuts, is when you don't give people the option for a standby line. If somebody wants to stand in line for 4 hours, let them do it. That's up to them to decide. But you shouldn't make it automatic, either virtual queue or individual lightning lane selection where you pay for it. That's not fair to your everyday guest coming into the park. That, to me, is where we draw the line. You saw people standing in line for 7 hours for a Figment popcorn bucket a couple of years ago.
I agree.
Am I going to do that?
That's
absolutely
a great point.
Not. But that went to a virtual queue too, where you could go pick it up later.
That's a great point. I mean, because, and I agree, there should always be an option for standby, as crazy as it is. And if you want to, because it's your right, and and if you get in that line, you should be guaranteed to get on that attraction, because that's kind of the rule, right? As long as you're in line before the park closes, you're going to get to experience it. If you want to spend your whole day in that line, and because then you're foregoing 100 other experiences you could have in that park. It's just, it's like how you put your experiences in you get so much to put in different buckets. Well, you're putting all of your stuff into that one bucket for that day. And that's how you decide to do it, right? You're putting all your water in that one bucket. I mean, you're exactly right. Like, I remember when the iPhone came out, like the iPhone 4 or something. Like, I got in a line, at the Apple store here in St. Louis, and I waited like 8 hours, like for a stupid phone. Now, I don't even get one every year, but like when I get one, I just get it delivered to the house. But back in the day, nobody complained. That's just what you did. You just got in line and you entertained yourself. I mean, did it suck? Yeah, it sucked. I mean, like I was waiting in line for 8 hours. It was terrible. But you just did it because you got a phone. It was terrible.
Well, I mean, and I'm one of those people that when we're in a line, I mean, that's where I talk to my wife back and forth and we make plans for the rest of the day or something like that. But I will tell you, as privileged as I am, where we go to Disney a couple times a year, the longer lines don't mean so much because we're going to be back at another time. But I really empathize with these people going to Disney for the first time, where they've never been before. They're getting used to this Genie app, and which in and of itself is a scenario. But if there's so many things you need to know now compared to even like when Pam and I started coming in 2019 consistently, so much has changed. There's so many rules. There's so many different guidelines about how you have to reserve ahead of time. I mean, mobile order was fairly new in 2019. Nobody was doing it. And we were feeling like we were gaming the system. You go to Casey's Corner and order corn dog nuggets and stuff like that. And you could get to the front of the line when you've got 70 people in a standby line. There's certain things that make sense, but there's certain times that these things need to go away. You need to think about these people that are not coming all the time. They're not annual pass holders. Give them a chance to enjoy their experience for their once in a lifetime trip.
No, I 100% agree with you. Like pre-COVID, before, and the thing was, like, I didn't feel bad about it because everybody could have used mobile order.
Oh, I know, Mike. Pam and I had done so much research before that first trip, and I'm like, I heard nobody's using this, and literally nobody was using it pre-COVID. It was freaking amazing.
Right. And that was the thing. It was like, and the thing was, it didn't cost anything extra, right? It wasn't an add-on. It wasn't, that's what I loved about mobile order, right? It was exactly as you just said, Brandon. It was like a hack. Like I felt like I was gaming the system, right? Because the thing was, it was exactly, and it was Casey's too. Casey's was one of the best places ever to use it because you would have 17 lines of, 10 people deep in Casey's, like a nut house, like it always is. And then you go to the side there where the mobile order was. Mike, oh yeah, here's my nuggets. Corn dog nuggets. I go grab. Boom, I'm in and out like in 2 seconds. And it was like nobody was using this, but it didn't cost anything extra. It's almost like a Target. That I never go in Target anymore because they have that drive up thing where they just bring it out to your car and throw it in your trunk. I mean, I don't think enough people use that. I haven't been in the store in a year. Like I just go on my phone.
It's like self-checkout at a Home Depot or something, or a Walmart or something like that. Why are not more people using that? I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, I get to avoid all of this lines and everybody has free access to this. Are you not paying attention to what you could possibly be doing to make your day so much easier? And the hardest part at Casey's Corner back then was finding a freaking table to sit at because people were camping out at tables.
Yeah.
You ate on top of trash cans, table for two, Pam and Brandon.
Yeah, same. Yeah, especially if you're like solo, man, because you can't get a table till it's just you. You gotta go get your food. You can't like hold the table because you gotta get your food. So and then you got to fend off the ducks that are going to try to nab a nugget or a fry. So what can you do? But hey, good thoughts.
That's the worst in Epcot. But one other thing I just want to bring up real quick, Mike, my wife is obsessed with the popcorn buckets. We have to get one per trip. So yes, she is one of those people. I am not. I have to get a hat every time I'm in Disney. To me, that's good enough for my trip, but she does love the popcorn buckets. No, we didn't do the Figment thing. I put my foot down on that one.
So what's her favorite popcorn bucket of all time? And what's her favorite, and what do you guys do with them when you're at home? Do you display them? Like, how's that work out?
We do have a Disney display thing from our trips that we have with all of our magic bands and, all that garbage on it. And her popcorn buckets, it's a corner shelf in the living room where we stack on the next one. The best one she ever got was actually our 2019 trip. And apparently this was a rare one. It was one of the little aliens from Toy Story with a plaid Christmas decoration kind of motif going on it. And apparently these things sell on eBay for $200-$300 a piece for some whatever reason, but that was her first ever popcorn bucket, and she was absolutely fascinated by that. I mean, when we got that in Hollywood Studios right in front of the Chinese theater, and she's walking around the park with it, people are like, where'd you get that? And she's like, well, right over by, she didn't know what to tell them, but we explained in front of the Chinese theater. So that is her absolute favorite. That's probably the coolest one she's ever gotten. I mean, we've got, I think 7 or 8 by now, but that was definitely the go-to for sure. And that one comes out every Christmas time, goes on the mantle above the wood stove, and it's part of our Christmas decorations now.
I love the seasonal ones because I have a Donald Duck like sipper that I bring out. It's a Halloween one, so I bring that. I put that on the shelf at Halloween. I have the Christmas like ceramic tree looking one, so I bring that out at Christmas. So that's nice. But when you said you had the alien one and it was worth something, I got excited because I do have an alien popcorn bucket, but he's just in the regular alien suit, so he's probably not worth any.
Yeah, this is like a black and red plaid kind of like Christmas sweater. He's got a Christmas hat up on the top. And again, it wasn't something that we knew about. It was our first trip to come down consistently. And, you know, it was there, you know, they had like 5 or 6 of them, and she bought the popcorn bucket. We're popcorn people. And she was like, oh, this thing looks really neat. I'll tell you what the worst part about those things is: you buy it at the earlier part of your day and you're carrying that damn thing around.
And it bangs on you if you put it around your neck. Yeah, 100%. You want to buy it late in the day, late in the trip, actually. And you don't want to put popcorn in.
That's where we do all of our souvenir shopping for other people and for ourselves. We hit World of Disney or something like that. Or if there's something we saw in the parks, we do it on the second to last day or the last day. Grab it then. We know now, but that was the beginner's mistake was, got to carry this thing everywhere we go.
100%. Unless you get like a Figment one, then like you're like balling, like if it's like, a limited edition or something, you're like, yeah, I got one.
Well, then you're going to lock it up in your car.
Yeah, you might get mugged. Exactly.
You don't want to leave it somewhere and have someone grab it on you.
You get mugged in the UK or something. Yeah, you don't want that. But no, great. Hey, that pro tip right there. Yeah, give me your Figment, kid. Whatever. No, it's awesome, Brandon. I appreciate you, and stay safe in that snowstorm up there, and you'll be in Walt Disney World before you know it.
Absolutely, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Always good talking to you, buddy. You have a good one. Thanks. See you later.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, 407-413-9395. Great thoughts there, not only on popcorn buckets, but the virtual queues. I don't know the answer. I really don't, but let's see. I think we're heading out to Indianapolis. Looks like the 317 area code. Who do we got next? Say who's joining us.
Hey, Mike, it's Megan from Pennsylvania. How you doing?
I thought it was Indy, but it's Pennsylvania. Megan, what's going on?
No, I'm tricky. I'm originally from Indy. Kept the phone number.
See, I know my area codes, but look,
you do. That's awesome.
I'm trying. I'm like a area code savant. But what's going on tonight? What you got for us?
Well, we just got back from a week in Disney on Sunday, and we had an awesome trip. It was a blast.
So you just actually vacationed, like you didn't run like 97 miles?
No, I didn't. I did not run. I mean, we walked about a half marathon every day.
Yeah, well, that's a given. I mean, that's why you get to eat all the good. That's why you get to eat all the good snacks and foods.
Exactly, that's what we said. And when we were hopping around the booths for the Festival of the Arts, we're like, all right, we walked this off. Now we can have another snack.
I miss Festival of the Arts. I haven't seen that in a few years, and I love that festival. I love it. Was it good?
It was our first time, and we absolutely loved it. We have a 3 and a 7-year-old, and they were really into it too. Just going around and seeing all the different art. My 3-year-old saw the Broadway performances with me. She loved it. They did the bicycle spin art.
That
was a really cool souvenir to bring back.
I've seen them doing that, and I've kind of wanted to do it, but I'm like, I'm 6'3", and I'm a 50-year-old guy. Like, I think it's for the kids, but like, it looks so fun. Like, I want to get on there and like make the thing go. But yeah, I love that they do that. It's neat. That's super cool.
It was just a cool experience for them, and then a really cool, souvenir, and a unique souvenir for them to bring home as well.
That is cool. So what else?
So yeah, you were talking about the virtual queues. Selfishly, we like them because my husband Matt and I, we have it figured out. So we're really good at getting the virtual queues. And for a family with 2 small kids who don't do lines well, it is really helpful to us. It gets us to do those lines, and we can do the rider swap and jump right through. I did say to Matt when we were there, it's like, I do feel so bad for the people who haven't done hours of research on Disney and don't know what to do. But it is helpful. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, people complain when the prices raise. Well, if the prices don't raise, the parks are going to be more crowded, and then they complain about the parks being crowded. So,
That's true.
You don't have the virtual queues. You're going to have a 3-4 hour line for these new rides, and I wouldn't wait in that.
That's the thing, because I've been thinking about this all week because we brought this up. We recorded the show on Monday. It came out on Friday, and I knew I wanted to talk about it tonight because Scott was going to be here, and I knew it would, generate some conversation. And I always told because I taught sixth grade for 17 years, and I always told my students, don't come to me with complaining about something unless you have a solution. It's like, here I am, like, I'm gonna bring it up, but I really don't have a great solution to the problem because you don't want to have 8-hour physical lines, but I do want to have an option for people to get in. That's 100% true, because the thing is, you could have a line, but I mean, what's it going to look like if you have the Galaxies, like a line for Rise of Resistance that comes all the way out to Slinky Dog Dash? That's not acceptable, because that ruins the aesthetics. So that doesn't work. Exactly. But I mean, and I don't pretend to know how theme parks work as far as the logistics, because I know that things break down. There's so many moving parts in Rise of Resistance. There's got to be hundreds of thousands of moving parts, and they all have to work. And if they don't, then it breaks down. And then that's why when you come back and it's your time for group number 54, then maybe you have to wait an hour. And I say you should only have to wait 10 minutes. It's a lot easier for me to get behind this mic here in Missouri and say, I should only wait 10 minutes when my group comes at 54. Yeah, well, also, gas should be 10 cents a gallon too, Mike. That's right. What they're telling me. Like, right. It should, but that's not how the world works. So I just don't know the answer. I wish, but who knows? I just want I just want the regular person to have a good experience.
I know. Yeah, exactly. And we did have to wait the first time on Tron. We did have to wait for an hour. Once our queue was called, and my son was not expecting that, and he had a tough time with that. And I had never been on the ride, so I couldn't tell him, like, oh, we only have this far left, and I couldn't. But I was like, I promise it's going to be really cool, and it didn't end up to being his favorite ride. But yeah, we were there on last 2 Wednesdays ago, and it was surprisingly very crowded. We're like, we thought these January crowds were supposed to be down a little bit, but it was pretty packed, and we had to wait a bit for that one.
Yeah, I think post-COVID.
But your virtual queue's called.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm supposed to get on the ride in 10 minutes, not in an hour.
Well, see, and here's my thing too. Like, I don't know if you're like this and how our listeners fall on this, but I bet you our listeners are kind of like me, just because we all kind of tend to be this kind of personality that listen to Disney podcasts. I think, like, when my window opens up for my virtual queue, like, I'm there. Like, it's not, they give you like the window to come back, right? I don't come back halfway through my window. I don't come back 3/4 of the way through my window. I come back in the first 5 minutes. My window's open.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like the first, I'm like almost one of those people that are just pacing outside. Like, okay, 3 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. Okay, I can go in. I just, that's how I am with life, right? Like, when I had a staff meeting at school, I was always 5 minutes early. That was just me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a cause. Maybe if I arrived later in my window, like if it's, groups 75 to 90 and my group was 80 and I went, towards the tail end of that, maybe that would help my cause. I don't know, because I've never done it, because I don't know. That's just not who I am.
We did have a positive experience regarding that. We got like group 18 or something with Guardians of the Galaxy. So we went and rope dropped Remy first. And we actually got stuck on Remy. We got stuck on it for about a half an hour, and they had to evacuate us off of the ride. And it was kind of a cool experience. I'd never had that happen before, but to kind of see everything behind the scenes. But by the time we had gotten through the Remy line and gotten evacuated, we missed our virtual queue for Guardians. And we were like, no, this can't happen. So we went straight to a guest services umbrella, because we've heard they're really good with helping you out. And they said, hey, if you missed it, it's no problem. Just go to Guardians and they'll let you in. And they did. So who knows too, later in the day, how many people you're getting that, missed their virtual queue, or it shut down and they had to come back,
Yeah. Later in the day, you're probably getting a lot of comp rides and stuff like that, recovery stuff. Yeah. So what'd your family, how old are your kids?
7 and 3.
So did they both do Guardians?
No, the 3-year-old wasn't tall enough. Okay. My 7-year-old loved it. He loved Guardians. He loved Tron. That was all of our first time on both of those.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a blast. I love both of them. He got, because of rider swap, he got to ride each one.
Yep.
4 times actually, because we went 2 different days to each park.
I
So
remember that. Yeah,
he was
because
lucky with that.
because Paige is, she's 27 now, Mallory's 16. So when Mallory was a little baby and Paige was like 11 or 12 and Mallory was 2 or whatever, we called Mallory the little free fast pass for Paige, right? Because Paige could ride everything twice because we do the rider swap. She get to go twice because she get to go once with Pam, once with me. So she was like really loving her little sister.
My son got to do Rise of Resistance twice before 10 a.m. when we were in Hollywood. He's a lucky kid.
I know. I said, you need to really love your little sister. She's a little golden fast pass for you, Paige. You get to ride every e-ticket ride twice.
She got to ride Slinky Dog and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train for the first time this trip, though. So she was very proud of that. And it was nice not to have, because rider swap takes time too. She got to wait for the other person, to ride it again with the kids. So it definitely takes time. So that was nice that she's finally getting tall enough to ride some of them.
Wow, she's a daredevil though. I mean, Slinky Dog and there's adults that won't ride Slinky Dog, so that's something.
She was nervous about it, but she was a champ. She did well.
So
we had her watch some YouTube point of view videos before we went, and that helped her out.
So give me like a highlight of the trip. Like was there some special memory, like something the kids told you or something they really enjoyed from the trip, or did you guys have like a moment that stuck out?
Our last Magic Kingdom day was super special. We did it on the last day. It was actually a Saturday. So we thought that one was going to be busier, and it actually wasn't. The Wednesday before was busier. And we got a dinner reservation at the Plaza. We had never eaten there before, but we just wanted to have a sit-down place, and we got it at 6:30, kind of right before the fireworks. And we were able to just walk outside, and we got a spot just to the right of the umbrellas, right at a flower bed spot, so no one was standing in front of us, and it was so much more relaxing. We walked up there at 7:40 with the fireworks starting at 8, and we had the perfect spot. Tink flew right over us, and that was just it was a really awesome way to end the trip. And I guess the other special memory was to bookend it. It was at the beginning of the trip. We stayed at Wilderness Lodge for our first time, which was amazing. And I know my husband, Matt, was working with you to book a really good room. We just got a standard view. We're like, hey, let's ask for a high floor north facing and just see what we can get. And we ended up getting a fireworks view.
Nice.
So our first night there, we hadn't gone to the park, so we were just able to watch the fireworks from the balcony. So kind of starting and ending the trip with Happily Ever After. Those were both really special moments.
And Happily Ever After is I used to be 100% a wishes guy, because again, that was kind of that was when that was my prime going to Walt Disney World time, when the kids were younger, I think you really kind of fall in love with Walt Disney World, when your kids are at that special age, mine are a little bit older now. So, but Happily Ever After, I saw it when I was down. No, it wasn't Marathon Weekend. Well, maybe it was. No, because I didn't. No, it wasn't Marathon Weekend. I was down there though for something right before that. Anyway, one night I was at the Magic Kingdom by myself, and I just hung out and watched Happily Ever After on Main Street. I just stood kind of by Town Square, and just watched it by myself. And I was like, I love this show. This is just the music's great. It's a great show. I just love it. And it
makes you a proud
awesome.
Disney parent. We're in the car today, and my son just starts playing it over the car, and both kids are singing along to it. I'm like, oh, Matt, we've done well. We're raising Disney kids.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, because Mallory used to play that every night, because she has, she doesn't do it anymore now. She plays her country playlist on Apple Music because she's a high school kid. But she has an Amazon Dot in her bathroom where she gets in. Her bathroom's right next to our living room. We don't have a very big house, so as soon as she goes in to take her shower every night, we can barely hear the TV news that we're watching in the living room because she plays it so loud. But she'd always turn on Happily Ever After, that song, and she would sing it so loud in the shower. But the thing was, the same thing, my heart was warm. It was oh, my daughter's singing Happily Ever After. I can't even tell her to stop singing so I can hear the weather. I was checking on my phone. I don't care.
I know. Another special moment, especially with the 3-year-old, we had some really awesome character interactions. Stayed at Wilderness Lodge. We'd come back from for nap breaks, and there'd be some characters in the lobby just hanging out, and we get pictures
Really?
with them. And then she had a blast like with the Disney Junior characters. They were playing with her. She brought her little doll to Doc McStuffins, and Doc McStuffins was checking her doll, and she was playing freeze tag with Fancy Nancy, and like she didn't want to leave the area. So that's really key for the little ones. I think all those special character interactions.
See that I didn't know they did that stuff as much at the resorts.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is not hard to do, but that you're talking about it right now. They should do that kind of stuff. That stuff's not hard, and it
Exactly.
makes core memories. That's so cool.
Absolutely. And the photographers were eating it up. They're like, she's my favorite little girl I've seen. I'm like, she just asked them to play. Like, they're her friends she knows from shows and everything. She just asked them to play. And that made a really cute meet and greet.
Real quick, I got to send a shout out to Mike
Yeah.
Bankhead, who's tuned in right now. He's headed up to deck 12 on the Disney Dream. No, he's on the Fantasy. And he just finished dinner at Animator's Palette. And I'm not at all jealous of you, Mike Bankhead. Oh, I think we all are. He is on the Fantasy right now. He's living life.
Oh, Matt and I have our first solo kid-free trip planned for our 10-year anniversary this fall on the Dream. So we're really looking forward to that.
Oh, man. The Dream, the Fantasy. You're just going to, oh, man. There's nothing like a Disney cruise. They're so awesome.
Yeah.
We're going on the Fantasy this summer. I can't wait. We're going on the Fantasy too. I've never been to the Eastern Caribbean, so I can't wait to do that.
Oh, fun.
See some new islands for a change. Well, hey,
we're going to both islands on our cruise. So I'm really excited about that.
Wait, God, it's just nice to see the ocean when you live in Missouri, because all we see is the dirty Missouri River, which is brown. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I got to scoot because I'm trying to get a couple calls in here before the top of the hour. But hey, awesome trip report. Glad you guys had a good time, and your kids are brave. Tell them shout out from me.
I'll let them know. Thanks, Mike.
All right, have a good Sunday. Have a great week. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. I'm hitting the wrong button. All right, we got 4 calls coming in, and we're going to go to this one. Next caller's on the line. Hey, who's joining us? Hello, caller.
Hello, it's me.
Who
Calling
is
from
this?
Pennsylvania.
Sorry, you didn't get your first name. Who is it?
Oh, it's Matt again.
Hey, Matt, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Listen, after the first show, I had messaged you on Instagram, and I hope I hadn't offended you when I asked you some stuff earlier. So if I did, I apologize.
Oh no, that's fine. It was fine. It was fine.
Good. I'm happy. So I was hearing you all talk about the whole stuff with the virtual queues. When I went to Disney World, I remember it was the Fast Pass system. I'm sure everybody remembers the Fast Pass.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's see. I went to all 4 theme parks when I went there to Disney World. I was in 5th grade, and we went to all 4 parks. We went to Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, back when it was called Disney MGM Studios, and they were pretty busy when we went there. In fact, we ended up going to the Magic Kingdom for half a day, and then we spent we had to come back another day because it was so crowded. I remember when we went to the Magic Kingdom, first we went to the Contemporary Resort to have breakfast at Chef Mickey's, and I got to meet Mickey Mouse. I mean, who could not love Mickey Mouse?
I love Chef Mickey's.
But after breakfast, we got on the monorail and we went to Magic Kingdom, and it was just open, and it was getting all crowded and everything. I think I can't remember. I think we got through Main Street USA, Tomorrowland, and Fantasyland and Frontierland, and then we ended up calling it a day because it was so busy. And then I don't remember exactly what day it was that we came back to Magic Kingdom. I think we might have gone to the Animal Kingdom and then came back to Magic Kingdom, because that was when the Animal Kingdom closed at 5, and that was like I believe it was because the animals had to sleep at night, and that's why for a long time Animal Kingdom didn't have any stuff to do at night.
Right.
Because they had to work, they were worried about the animals and getting the animals worked up.
Yeah.
And that's why. So we came back to the Magic Kingdom, we finished in Adventureland. We got on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and then we went back to Main Street and we had dinner and we watched the Spectro Magic Parade and we watched Tinkerbell fly over the castle for the fireworks, which was wonderful. I was hoping we would be able to do that in a day, but I didn't think it would be on a busy day that it would end up taking 2 days.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom's got a lot to do, and those were the good old days back when they had Spectro Magic, and they had because they had the nighttime parade, which Spectro Magic was my favorite, because they also had the Main Street Electrical Parade for years, which was like Spectro Magic, but I like the music from Spectro Magic a little bit more. But yeah, and then you could go directly into the fireworks show.
Magic, it was more the lighting system was more advanced because it was more I think it was like, I think I read about it. It was like fiber optics or something like that.
It was. Yeah. It was more.
And the Main Street Parade was more, oh God, I can't remember. I think I can't remember what the lighting system was. I think it was just like regular lights, multicolored lights strung onto floats.
Yeah, it was almost more like the Main Street Electrical Parade was almost more like just like Christmas lights, kind of just like the kind of Christmas lights you put on your house, because it was.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. But I mean, it looked neat. Trust me, it looked really cool. But yeah, Spectrum Magic had definitely a cool aesthetic to it with the they had the trumpet guys at the front.
I like the Spectrum Magic.
Yeah, me too. I have a shirt.
And then of course the fireworks show was Fantasy of the Sky at the time.
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago.
Tinkerbell over the castle.
God, that was a long time ago, because I'm thinking Wishes, and that was before Wishes. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was. It was yes, it was February of 2003. I was in 5th grade when I went there. There was still Fantasy in the Sky, and then several months later, I think near the end of the year, that's when they replaced it with Wishes.
Wow. That's good times. So did you guys stay at a on-site hotel then?
Yes, we did. We stayed at Caribbean Beach in the Epcot area.
Nice. There was probably the trying to think, that might have been, so that was definitely before like Pop Century and all that. So
yeah, they were building it. They were building it because they were building it at the time we went there, but I didn't know it, and I didn't see any construction work going on, but I knew they were building it, because the next thing you know, at the end of 2003, that's when Pop Century opened.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good times though. Oh my gosh, yeah, because we were going down and we stayed at the All Stars. I remember around that time, because our first day was at Sports, and we went down over Christmas, and we had no idea what we were doing. And so we just drove down from Missouri and had a couple of tickets and just did everything wrong. But man, we had the best time ever. I mean, looking back, we didn't know a thing to plan, to do anything, but we still had the best time ever, because we got this, just like you, we got to see Mickey Mouse. We saw parades, we saw fireworks, and we ate lots of good snacks and rode a bunch of fun rides. We didn't care. We didn't know any better. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
And we were young.
I actually, I did go on only some of the big rides. I didn't go on all of them. Like, I think some of the only big stuff I got was Splash Mountain. I pretty much avoided the roller coasters like Space Mountain and Big Thunder and Rock and Roller Coaster. I avoided them.
Nothing wrong
and
with
I
that,
also avoided the Tower of Terror.
That's a good idea. I avoid that nowadays.
I'm scared of heights. I'm a bit scared of heights.
Yeah.
But and my mother avoided it too. She's not afraid of heights, but she's afraid of falling.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, if you're afraid of heights, that's pretty much the core of the issue right there, right? You're probably like, I used to be scared to fly. I wasn't really scared of flying as much as I was scared of crashing in an airplane. So that was the core of it. But I didn't want to get on an airplane. I wouldn't fly until about 10 years ago.
I was a little nervous when we took off to go to Disney World, and when we got on the plane and go to the airport, and I saw us took off, and I saw the land getting below us getting smaller and smaller.
Me too. Yeah. I was the same way, but now I love flying now. I'm a champ. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the trip. But man, those first few times flying to Florida, my wife did not like it.
Flying also depends on where you're going, because if you're going in an area that's a completely different time zone, and then you get things like jet lag and all that.
I don't go. See, I live in Missouri, so it's not too bad, because the good news is I'm in the dead center of the country, so I only go 2 hours one way or the other because that way it's not so bad. Even California is only 2 hours. So I don't, because I don't go very far from home. I'm a homebody. I got to scoot though, because I got another couple. I'm trying to grab another couple calls for the top of the hour, but
Okay.
give me a holler next week.
Thanks for everything.
Yep. You too. Have a good week, buddy. Good talking to you.
You too.
Thanks for the memory. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
All right, 47413-9395. And we have our next caller. We have him coming in tonight. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike, it's Tom from Cleveland. How you doing?
Hey, how's Cleveland tonight?
Rainy.
Oh,
wet,
man. I'm glad that.
And my sump pump.
Oh, man. I'm glad that it's not
Yeah.
just Missouri that's having the terrible weather. We're all having terrible weather. All right, good.
Yeah, my sump pump died on me.
Oh,
Been doing
no.
that all afternoon.
Do you need to go to Lowe's?
Yeah.
Get to Home Depot.
So, well, it's good. Yeah, I went to Lowe's. Went to Lowe's, got the last one.
Just saying, you need to get off the phone and get to Lowe's before they close.
Oh, no, it's all done.
Okay, good.
It's all done.
You got more important things to worry about.
Afternoon.
Okay, good. I'm saying even, the football game's on and it's going Scotty G's. I'm going to say it out loud. I almost did. I'm not saying a word. I know how that is. And he'll scream at me. So yeah, I know how that we're very superstitious. So anyway, what's going on in your world?
Nothing. I wanted to call. Well, one, it was great seeing you at Magic Kingdom, and I got to run into you, and I feel really bad. You just wanted your pictures, but after the marathon, but it was great seeing you.
Oh, absolutely,
and, I did. I looked for the tall guy, and I found you.
It's not. Yeah, it's pretty easy to spot me. It's not hard.
Yeah. But no, I really quick. I just wanted to give a couple tips for some of the other military guys out there, guys and gals out there.
Absolutely.
So I just post cruise, I booked a 1-bedroom Copper Creek villa, and they actually have some really great military discounts. So a tip for any military is book your hotel early, even before the discounts come out. They usually come out December or January. You might know more than that.
Yeah. Typically it's about that time. Sometimes it depends, but yeah, that's mostly when they come out. Yeah,
but definitely book. Even if the discounts are not out, just book your hotel, and then when it comes out, they will. If there's availability, they will apply the discount. And just for reference, I booked the Copper Creek 1-bedroom villa. And when I called back to get the military discount, I added the dining plan. And for 3 Disney adults for 3 nights, it was only $100 difference from my original booking. So it's a really good military discount for anyone out there.
You see, that makes me so happy because y'all deserve that. I mean, for what you do for our country and all the sacrifices you make. I mean, that's one of the things that I've always said Disney does right, because those are typically significant discounts for the military, for the rooms, and that's well deserved. And also, I've never been at Shades of Green, and G_low over on Instagram, who's tuned in live, is asking about Shades of Green over there. And I love that resort's an option over there too. I think that's super. Have you ever stayed at Shades of Green? I'm always curious about that. I mean, obviously I'm not entitled to go over there, so I'm not, never been there, but I think it's cool to have that over, kind of across there near the Polynesian.
So I've never stayed there, but I had buddies that stayed there, and it's awesome. I've looked at the rates online, and I mean, you're talking like deluxe level hotel for value level prices.
That's cool.
And the lower rank you are, the cheaper it is.
You see, and I think that is genius. I think, whoever came up with that pricing strat, genius. That's cool, because it who needs it the most, like the better rates. And that's, though, I mean, the world should kind of work that way. And not in everything, not in everything, but that's cool for something like a vacation, so you could take your family to do something special every so often. I love that structure for something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah. And the DOD, Department of Defense, has a resort out in California, in Hawaii. It's the same way. The lower rank you are, the cheaper it is, right there in Waikiki Beach. But back to Disney and Shades of Green, it's also a great place to pick up tickets. Military has those awesome military salute tickets.
Yep.
I think like a 4-day cost me, I wish I had the pricing range, but it was cheap.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to say it's about equal to a 2-day ticket.
yeah. Those they're called. I think they're called military salute tickets, and they're at least 50% off because that's the thing is people don't
I
understand.
want to say closer to 60.
Yeah, they're at least they're a steal. I mean, they're a great deal, and that's the thing is Disney gets you on the tickets. They never discount the tickets, and the tickets are expensive. They'll discount rooms and they'll discount dining, but they never discount tickets. And you guys, but now the deal is though, for people that don't know, you have to buy those tickets on base, but you can buy them at Shades of Green. So that's
you do, and
that's the thing.
Yes, exactly. They
Yeah.
have to be bought on base or Coast Guard Exchange. We
Okay.
have a big Coast Guard presence in Cleveland, so I buy mine at the Coast Guard Exchange.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen the prices for those things. I'm like I say, you guys deserve them. I don't, because I never served, so I'm not entitled to it. But I see those rates and I'm like, man, if you're in the military, you got to take advantage of that. I'm just like,
and so many, like SeaWorld, I think is free entry. I mean, but if any of the morale, welfare, and recreation offices that sell the tickets on base, or the Coast Guard Exchange, or anywhere you can get the tickets. I mean, they have Universal, Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, excellent tickets, and you get all those. Anything in Orlando, you can get right there at Shades of Green as well. And I've actually bought tickets there. And the nice thing, if you buy them at Shades of Green, you don't have to activate your tickets. But if you buy them on base, as soon as you get to Disney, go to guest services. Don't wait till the first day in the park. So you're not trying to, because you have to go to guest services to activate your tickets.
Yeah.
So just show your military ID and all that.
My biggest tip too, if you have to mess with tickets at guest services at Disney, if you can, this is just a hack for everybody, not just military. If you can swing it, go to Disney Springs guest services, because you'll avoid you won't have as long of lines, and they have more capacity over at Disney Springs because they're not inundated. Like, say you've seen the lines at the Magic Kingdom, like at Rope Drop, there's just tons of people because you're going to be battling against people that are walking up and their magic bands aren't working. People that are trying to gain entry to the park right then. At Disney Springs, most people aren't there messing with tickets. It's very few people that are even screwing around with tickets at Disney Springs, but they can handle any ticket issue. Like back in the day when I used to I'd always buy a 10-day park hopper ticket, and then I would upgrade it to an annual pass every year when I went down once a year, and I'd do it at Disney Springs because they can do that there, but I didn't have to battle with everybody that was messing with magic bands or couldn't get into a park like at Epcot or the studios or whatever. And it was 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out, no problem. So I'm just saying, like, Disney Springs is a great place to go.
Yeah, I think I went to Epcot because I didn't get into Disney until like 6, 7 o'clock at night. I wasn't going into the park that day, staying at Yacht Club. So I walked to Epcot.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. No line because it was after the rush.
Yeah. Just don't go at park opening. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, just if you can avoid, go at lunchtime. You just don't try to do this like right when you want to go into a park at park opening and trying to make Rope Drop, because it ain't gonna happen. Do it some other time.
Yeah, that was my very first Disney trip. That was me. I went and like, you got to activate these, and I was like, go wait in the long line at Magic Kingdom. But my last, and I know there's lots of tips for military, but my last tip is even if you're not staying at Shades and Green, they have an exchange inside, a small like military store. They're called exchanges. They have it's kind of hit or miss, but sometimes they'll have some very discounted Disney merchandise.
Nice.
But one of the biggest things is they have, I kind of equate it to at the DVC resorts, how they have some food, some snacks, beer, liquor for sale. So it's a little bit better than what you'll see at most DVC resorts, but they have great drink, non-alcoholic and alcoholic drinks there, and it's super cheap and it is tax-free. So if you're flying in, and you want to get a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Diet Coke or Coke Zero, go over to the exchange and you won't be paying Disney prices or have to worry about food service deliveries or anything like that. So
Cool.
I think I got like a 6-pack of beer for like $10.
Dang. I mean, I don't drink beer. I don't even know what it costs. But that'd be good for Coke Zero. I mean, that's not bad.
But yeah,
Disney,
it's just like any local grocery store, except everything's tax free. So, and the sunscreen, diapers, if you forget any kind of those little sundries that you would normally try to pay the inflated prices at Disney, there's a military exchange right there on property. It was a lot easier to get to when they had that walkway from Polynesian to Shades of Green. I think they've gotten rid of that. But it was a lot easier because you can go to TT's Ticket Restoration Center, walk through the Poly, go to Shades of Green. Wasn't that bad of a walk, but now most Ubers or minivans or lifts, they can get you in there as well. So
yeah,
or if you have a car.
If you have a car, it's not with the, because I know it sits right. It used to be the golf resort, like back in the day. Is there any, if you stay at Shades of Green, do you have any entitlements to play golf? Do you get discounted golf or anything like that for folks that want to play? Do you know? Since it's on the course?
I don't think you get any special entitlements because you're at Shades of Green. I haven't looked into any military discounts for golf. I actually, a guy that used to work for our company works as a starter down there, so that's my discount.
That's even better. I just wonder because that's the only time
retired.
I know one of my friends drives Phil. He's always in here every once in a while, and he drives a boat now over at Epcot like once a week, just because he wants to get the discounts like at Disney, right? He's living down there, and I think he just wants to see behind the scenes. He's just an enthusiast. But it's one of those things, like I've seen Shades of Green because we played the Magnolia course a couple of years ago. Scott and I and Wade and Phil, we went over there, and like when I saw Shades of Green from the outside because we were playing over at the Palm of the Magnolia when we were at the clubhouse, like, God, it's such a cool looking little resort. Like, I love this, because I'd heard about it, all this nostalgia and all this, Wedway radio and Matt talking about it, Nate. And, I'd finally seen it, and then I'm like, man, this is so cool. So now I'm intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really great. And they have restaurants on site, and again, very reasonably priced. Again, it's mostly military people staying there that don't always have a lot of money. So it's really catered towards them.
That's good.
And the food's really good too. I ate at the bar. I ate the bar food the one time I was down there, and it was very reasonably priced for like a burger, and very good, especially for what you paid for it. And you're right there on property. So
because you're right.
I'd yet to stay.
You're not like out in the boondocks, man. You're there with you're there at the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian. I mean, you're like, if you're on a Monopoly board, you're like sitting there between Park Place and Boardwalk. You're right on the good side of the board. Exactly. You're not down in the all-star little quadrant. You're in the other one. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and they have their own buses too, which are really nice, and they get a lot of the same perks as the deluxe resorts.
That's good. That's awesome.
It's an awesome. It's hard, book early if you really want to go there. Book early. Because it does fill up.
Well, I sure appreciate it.
I do. I want to say thanks to Disney because they actually do a really good job of supporting military families.
That's good. So, and I'm glad we could get the word out.
Yeah, that's just a couple of tips.
I'm glad we could get the word out because hopefully somebody will hear this and be like, hey, I didn't know that. And, and hopefully it's somebody that maybe they thought that Walt Disney World might've been a little bit out of reach for them, but maybe that because they hear this, they can go online and do a little bit of research and say, you know what, I could maybe take my little kid there and we can make some memories, maybe while I'm home on leave or something like that. That'd be, nothing would make me happier. And it's because of your call. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, just really quick, because I know in the past, usually travel agents couldn't book rooms under the military discount. Is that still true?
No, we can book rooms. We can book room onlys for military. Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Because I know when I first started, I couldn't. I had to go through Disney.
No, we can book room onlys. We can't book packages. So we can book the room, but the military person has to buy their own tickets on base. We can't buy the tickets because obviously you have to get those on
Okay.
your base. We can't do that because you have to show
when
your
I-
ID and all that.
Okay. When I did the dining plan, that was considered a package. So I only had to pay the $200.
Yeah. So
deposit.
I'd have to check on that, but we should be able to do that. But we're recording, so I can't promise that we can, but we should be able to do that. Yeah, we should be able to. I know we can book room onlys for military because I've done that a bunch. But because the thing is, since COVID and they just brought the dining plan back a couple weeks ago, things could have changed because a lot of stuff changed with the dining plan returning since it was gone for like 3 years. But let me check on that. let me just dot my I's and cross my T's. But I think we can.
Yeah,
I think we can.
Okay. Well, Disney, I did mine through Disney, and it was straight up dining. With the dining plan, it was a $200.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was nice too.
It's called a basic package. It's or a ticketless package is what we call it.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. It's what we do for annual pass holders because they don't need tickets either, but they want dining. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Good stuff. All right. Well, hey, I got to run because we're at the top of the hour, but hey, thank you so much for the great call, man. I hope it really helps some folks out there that maybe they're going to get down to Walt Disney World because they get to know about these perks.
All right. Awesome, man. You have a good one.
You too. Good talking to you. Have a great week.
You too.
All right. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's BOGP Open Line. So thanks for hanging with me, man. So many great calls. Didn't even get to all of them. So thanks for calling in. We'll be back on the air next Sunday night. Scotty G will be back and we're going to have a good time. So join us next Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central, right here. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll be taking your calls at 407-413-9395. And until then, don't forget our show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We are standing by to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. All you need to do is swing by the website over at themagicforless.com. While you're there, fill out that free, no obligation quote form. Put as much information as you can on the quote form, and it goes directly to me if you put the Be Our Guest podcast in that little area where it says, where did you hear about us? And then you and I are going to work together on that vacation. I promise to work hard for you. No additional cost. Doesn't cost you anything, but I'm going to get you the best deal out there, and we're going to have a great time planning that trip together. Promise you that. So let's work together over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. If you got to buy stuff on Amazon, you can really support the show just by clicking through our link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you very much to our patrons. You guys make the show possible. You're kind of like Club BOGP. We appreciate you so much. $5 a month is all it costs. Keeps the show going. The archives, the hosting, all this video cost, everything. It's because of our patrons. And you get a bonus show as a thank you. It's called Mike in the Midwest, and it comes out every week. So if you'd like to support us, coming over, patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcasts. Give me a follow on the social media. Be Our Guest Mike. Would love to talk to you this week on all the socials. And we'll have the shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So stay tuned for that. And if you don't mind, ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts are so appreciated. 5-star review would be great. So if you have time for that this week, it'd be sure appreciated. So please, if you don't mind, ratings and reviews. Again, we love that this week. All right, we're going to jump out of here. We'll be back again next Sunday night with another live show, but we'll have another podcast for you on Friday if you're listening here on the feed on Thursday. So until we talk again, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right, we'll see you later, guys. Have a good night.